Hi everybody, we have our address locator created, and so now we need to put it into action. So before we can do that, we need to actually put some address in here, some zip codes to locate. So we want to add some data. So from the United States.gdb geodatabase, we're going to add in the PA zip, we're going to add in PA counties, and we're going to add in the HHW zip codes. So if you hold Control and select all those, you can select all three at once, and then you can just click on Add. And so that'll take a few seconds to load. And so now here's the entire state of Pennsylvania. And so you can see if we unclick zip codes, you can see the counties and the zip codes. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to the Geocoding Toolbar. So you'll notice that there is no Geocoding Toolbar on here. And so if you go to Customize Toolbars, and go down and select geocoding. And this, you can do this for anytime you're missing a toolbar you think you can have, this is where it's going to be. So you add the geocoding toolbar right here. And so now, what are we going to do? So we're going to go to the HHW zip locator, and we're going to use that. Okay, and then we're going to go to Geocode Addresses. And what do you think we would select here? We want to use the locator that we selected. Alright, and so in the zip code locator, we want to get in this file of zip codes, so address table zip codes, what do we want to match on? We want to match on zip is the field we want to match. Output, we want to put it in the geodatabase we just found. Okay, hit OK. And so you see it matched 99% of them. There were 14 that were unmatched. Alright, and so now what happens is you see all of these points got plotted here. So where did those come from? How did we just suddenly get a whole bunch of points on the map? So if we right click and open this attribute table, these are the results, these are all the points that you see on the map. And so you'll notice that, so for the zip code 15015, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hopefully I counted correctly. 15 or so people who showed up at the meeting from that zip code. Whereas from 15001, we only have one person. And so what we want to do is we want to take that information, we want to summarize that, or sum it up rather, and visualize on the map how many people from each zip code attended the meeting. And so what we're going to do is match address. So this is the variable that it used to create the output. And so we're going to summarize here. So in this table, it's going to be the same thing that you did in the tutorial. If you look on page 235, the count geocoded records by zip code. So we open up the summarize table, and we're going to change the output table. So some output, we want to make sure that it's in the GDB. Okay, it is. So that's fine. So we're going to hit OK. Do you want to add the result table to the map? Yes, we want to add it to the map. Now we can close this, and so now we can see some output is now a table that we have in here. So let's go back to this view. Alright, so now what do we want to do? We have all the zip codes matched up. Now we want to count how many people are in each one. So we have a table with a count, and we have the zip codes. So what we want to do is we want to take the data that is the number of people, and so actually let's take a look at that data before we start doing this. Okay, so now every zip code here, we have the number of people. So 15015, good 15. Looks like I counted correctly before. Good thing I didn't try and count 15090. That would have taken a while. So you can see there's a pretty wide range here of attendees by zip code. All right, so we want to take the data that are in here and we want to join it with the shapes that are in the PA zip so that we can have, for each zip code, we can have a shape that we can symbolize with how many people were there. So all we want to do is go into PA zip. Let's go back to this view, PA zip, and joins and relates. We're going to join, and then we're going to do spatial join. So we don't want the attributes from the table, we want the spatial location here. Wait, hold on. No, it's already counted. We do want the attributes from the table. Okay. And so, table, we want the sum output table, and the variable that we want is those are not, I don't think those are the right variables here. Let's go in here, sum output, open. Alright, so we should see these three. So match addra, or count match addra. That's the one that we want to match here. Let's go back into this here. Whoops, wrong one. Join. There you go. Alright, join. Add to a table, some output. Should be in here, some output. Alright, well, this is a pain in the butt, huh? Well, the other way we could do it here is we could do a spatial join, geocoding result, so these are these points here, and so if we go back to this, open attribute table, the match address, so instead of creating that intermediate step, we can just do a join. Okay, so PA zip. So let's do a join. Let's do a spatial join. Actually, let's make sure. And here we have every zip code of every person. And so if we do a join, we do a spatial join from this. And hit OK. I was not careful about where I was saving that. I don't know where that just went. Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got here. So now for every zip code, we have count. That's the number of people that are in that zip code that were at the conference. And so this is a different way of doing the same thing that we did before. And so now what we can do is the counties. Well, so what we want to do is we have this one on top. And so we want to change the color of the counties depending on how many people were there. And so the assignment says to do 7 quantiles. So we want graduated color. We want the count. Let's choose, I don't know, I like this blue one. 7, but let's classify them as quantiles. Okay, and so now you see the break values here, 1, 2, 4, 8. So on our legend, you can see all the counties with over 35 are all going to be the darkest blue. So now you notice this is pretty hard to see. So one thing we need to do is we need to zoom in on these counties. Another thing we need to do is we need to make not counties, zip codes. So the assignment asks you to take the counties and make them, we're going to make these hollow. Let's double click on here. Hollow, and we want a really thick border though. So we hit OK. And then we need to move this one up to the top. There we go. And then the zip codes, make that hollow as well. Alright, and so now by doing that, this is only shading in the ones that have at least 1. And we want the ones with 0 to not show up at all. So by making this hollow, these are all the ones that don't have anything that were being shaded, whatever color this one is. Alright, so let's zoom in a little bit closer here. Make the edges of the map right around the edges there. Okay, and we can get rid of this so we can see. Alright, and now we want to label the counties. So let's go into here and display. So name, yes. I'm sorry, not display, labels. Label features, name, okay. We'll go into symbol here. Edit symbol. So let's put a halo around here. Align color. Let's put it like this. How about? Let's see if that's good or not. Alright, that looks okay. We need the halo in order to see really Butler and Allegheny and Washington. Otherwise, those blend in. And Indiana too, I guess. Okay, so that's about what your map should look like. Is there anything else we're missing here? Alright, so now when we go to the layout view, alright, so now we can zoom in a little bit more in the layout view. Let's make this a little bit smaller. So in the layout view, well, I guess that's pretty good, actually. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is, if we look at our assignment here, the counties are labeled, so we have those labeled. Counties have thick, dark outline, we have that. Zip codes with no attendees have hollow fill. Other zip codes are shaded by number of attendees. And you're going to want to add a legend in here too. So if we move this over here, you might want to make this landscape. It's up to you. Figure out the window that'll give you the best view here. But do add a legend. You always want a legend. It's not on the checklist, but that's just because you need to have that on there. And so really the only thing that we actually need on here is the join output. And so if we select on all of these, we can leave just that on here. Next. Okay. Now you'll notice it says join output and count. That's not really what we want. I don't think we even need count. If you just click once on that pause and click again, you can just delete and hit enter, and that'll go away. So you see that's not even in there anymore. The join output, click once, pause, click again, and so we can say, however you want to, attendees maybe, it's up to you, and hit enter, and that'll change over here on the legend. Okay, so you've done this enough times by now, you can figure out how to do this. Don't forget to save. File, Export Map, save it as a JPEG, and then put it in your Word document. Okay? So that does it for that assignment. It's pretty straightforward. The only really tricky part probably is the joining of the data. All right, so I'll see you at 7-2.